Chapter 37 Chavadi Procession. In this chapter, Hemant Pant, after making some preliminary observations on some points of Vedanta, describes the Chavadi procession. Preliminary. Blessed is Sai's life, blessed in his daily routine. His ways and actions are indescribable. Sometimes he was intoxicated with Brahmanan and other times content with self-knowledge. Doing so many things sometimes, he was unconcerned with them. Though he seemed at times quite actionless, he was not idle or dozing. He always abided in his own self. Though he looked calm and quiet as the placid sea, he was deep and unfathomable. Who can describe his ineffable nature? He regarded men as brothers, women as sisters and mothers. He was a perfect and perpetual celibate, as everybody knows. May the understanding we got in his company last long unto death. Let us ever serve him with wholehearted devotion to his feet. Let us see him in all beings and let us love him his name. Hemant Pant, after making some lengthy dissertations on some topics of Vedanta, which he himself considers as a digression, goes on to describe the Chavadi procession. Baba's dormitory has been already described. One day he slept in the masjid and on the next in the Chavadi, which is a small building containing a room or two near the masjid. This alternate sleeping in both these buildings went on till Baba's Mahasamadhi. From 10th December 1909, devotees began to offer regular worship to Baba in the Chavadi. This we will now describe with his grace. When the turn of retiring to the Chavadi came, people flocked to the masjid and made bhajan in the mandap for a few hours. Behind them was a beautiful ratha, to the right a Tulsi Vrindavan, and in front of Baba, and between these the devotees sang bhajans. Men and women who had a liking for the bhajans came in time. Some took tals, some chiplis and kartal, mridang, ganjiras and gol in their hands and conducted the bhajan. Saibaba was the magnet who drew all the devotees to him there. Outside in the open, some trimmed their divyatras, some decorated the palanquin, some stood with cane sticks in their hands and uttered cries of victory to Baba. The corner was decorated with buntings. Round about the masjid, rows of burning lamps shed their light. Baba's horse Shamakarna stood fully decorated outside. Then Tatya Patil came with a party of men to Baba and asked him to be ready. Baba sat quiet in his place till Tatya came and helped him to get up by putting his arm around Baba's armpit. Tatya called Baba by the name of Mama. Really, their relationship was extremely intimate. Baba wore on his body the usual kafni, took his satka under his armpit, and after taking his chilim and tobacco and placing a cloth over his shoulder, became ready to start. Then Tatya threw a golden embroidered beautiful shawl over his body. After this, Baba, moving a little the bundle of fuel sticks lying behind this with his right toe, and then extinguishing the burning lamp with his right hand, started for the Chavadi. Then all sorts of musical instruments, tashe, band and horns and mridang gave out their different sounds, and fireworks exhibited with their different and various colored views. Men and women singing Baba's name started walking, making bhajans to the accompaniment of mridang and veena. Some danced with joy and some carried various flags and standards. The Baldars announced Baba's name when he came on the steps of the masjid. On the two sides of Baba stood persons who held chavaris and others who fanned Baba. On the way were spread folds of cloth on which Baba walked on. Being supported by the devotees, Tatya Patil held his hand and Malsapati on the right, and Baba Sahib Jog held the umbrella over his head. In this fashion, Baba marched onto the Chavadi. The fully decorated red horse named Shamakarna led the way, and behind him were all the carriers, waiters, musical players, and the crowd of devotees. Harinama chanted to the accompaniment of the music rent the skies, as also the name of Sai. In this manner, the procession reached the corner when all the persons that joined the party seemed well pleased and delighted. On coming to this corner, Baba stood facing Chavadi and shone with peculiar luster. It seemed as if the face of Baba glittered like dawn or like a glory of rising sun. Baba stood there with a concentrated mind facing the north, as if he was calling somebody. All the instruments played their music while Baba moved his right arm up and down for some time. Kakasaheb Dikshit at this time came forward with a silver plate containing flowers besmeared with red powder and threw them on Baba's body off and on. The musical instruments played their best at this juncture and Baba's face beamed with steady and added radiance and beauty. And all the persons drank this lustre to their heart's content. Words fail to describe the scene and splendor of this occasion. Sometimes Mahalsapati began to dance being possessed by some deity, but all were surprised to see that Baba's concentration was not in the least disturbed. With the lantern in his hand, Tatya Patil walked on Baba's side and Bhagat Mahalsapati on the right, holding with his hand the hem of Baba's garment. What a beautiful position, and what an expression of devotion. To witness this, men and women, poor and rich, flocked together there. Baba walked very slow. Bhaktas followed on both sides with love and devotion. With joy pervading the whole atmosphere of the place, the procession reached the Chavadi. That seemed, and those days are gone now. Nobody can see them now or in the near future. Still remembering and visualizing the scene and sight, we can bring solace and comfort to our minds. The Chavadi was also fully decorated with a good white ceiling, mirrors and many other sorts of lamps. On reaching it, Tatya went ahead and spread an asan and placing a bolster made Baba sit there and made him wear good coat. Then the devotees worshipped him in various ways. They put on his head a crown with a tuft above, placed garlands of flowers and jewels round his neck and marking his forehead with musk mixed with vertical lines and a dot. They stared at him for long to their heart's content. They changed his headdress now and then held it aloft on their head, fearing that Baba might throw it away. Baba knew that the heart of them and meekly submitted to their methods without objection. With these decorations, he looked wonderfully beautiful. Nana Sahib Nemonkar held the chhatra with its beautiful pendants, which moved in a circle with its supporting stick. Baba Sahib Jog washed the feet of Baba in a silver dish and offered arghya and worship with due formalities and besmeared his arms with sandal paste and offered tambul. Baba sat on the asan and while Tatya and others kept standing and falling at his feet. When Baba sat on the gadi, supporting himself against the bolster, devotees on both sides waved chamras and fans. Shama then prepared the chilim and handed it over to Tatya, who drew a flame out of it by his breath and then gave it to Baba. After Baba and had his smoke, it was given to Bhagat Mahalsapati and then it was passed on to all. Blessed was the inanimate chilim. It had first to undergo many ordeals of penance, such as being treated by potmakers, dried in the open sun and burst in fire, and then it had the good fortune to get the contact of Baba's hand and his kiss. After this function was over, devotees put garlands of flowers on his neck and gave him nosegays and bunches of flowers for smelling. Baba, who was dispassion or non-attachment incarnate, cared a fig for all these necklaces of jewels and garlands of flowers and other decorations. But out of real love to his devotees, he allowed them to have their own way and to please themselves. Finally, Baba Sahib Jog waved the aarti over Baba, observing all formalities, the musical instruments playing their auspicious tunes. When this aarti was over, the devotees returned home one by one, saluting Baba and taking his leave. When Tatya Patil, after offering chilim, attar and rose water, rose to depart, Baba said to him lovingly, "Go if you like, but return sometimes at night and inquire after me." Replying in the affirmative, Tatya Patil left the Chavadi and went home. Then Baba himself prepared his bed. He arranged 50 or 60 white chaddars, one upon another, and thus making his bed went to rest. We shall now take rest and close this chapter with a request to the readers that they should remember Sai Baba and his Chavadi procession daily before they retire and go to bed. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all.